Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 14th of October. Hope you all are doing well. We are fully into spooky season. We are almost to Halloween. Happy set champs to everyone who attended this weekend. I saw all sorts of unique kind of homebrew decks on Twitter and Reddit, and that was awesome to see. So congrats to everyone who got a Mirabelle, an extra gold star from me to you if you did some sort of unique play lines and went off meta a little bit. Those decks are always really cool to see. I love looking through those and seeing how people get creative. And I think that, set champs and, league nights, nights with friends, etc. Like it's a fun time to do stuff like that. Obviously, if you're going to like a DLC event, you probably want to be as ironed out as possible. Best cards, most optimization. But to the people who got to set champs and get creative with it and still walk away with the prize card, extra gold star. Starting off today, guys, I just want a full warning for anyone who's new to Lorcana. I'm seeing all sorts of new engagement on my channel. I'm seeing all sorts of new people on Reddit, on the r/Lorcana collectors page of like, open my first pack, pulled my first enchanted. The game's just growing exponentially right now. And so anyone who's new to my channel, new to the game, I want to make sure you're aware that if you pre-order on TCG Player, the 25th of November is the date that these boxes will be shipped. This is the individual booster box for Azurite Sea. You can see there's a ton of volume just on the 13th, which was yesterday. There's, 2 cases, 3 cases in an extra box, all sorts of individual boxes. There's a lot of volume here. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows who's pre-ordering on TCG Player that this set will be out at your local game store on the 15th. So a full 10 days ahead of time, this product is going to be out, and that's essentially going to decrease the value of your boxes that you're getting 10 days later because the cards are simply going to be worth less because the supply is going to increase by the time we get to that point. The date of the 25th is the date that like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, etc. is the big box release, and when these retailers will have the cards. The 15th and the 10 days leading up to the 25th are the days that your local game stores will have the cards. And they usually are pretty fair, or I guess that in my market, they are very fair. Our LGSs here do a great job of having good costs, getting the product out, etc. I've heard some horror stories of LGSs kind of price gouging for that 10 days. But if you do shop around to your local game stores, see if they're going to have the product on the 15th. If they are, what kind of prices they're working with, because you're most likely going to be able to find a box cheaper than 114 per, and you're going to get it 10 days in advance. And if you're like me, those 10 days are crucial because that's going to give us the best opportunity to open boxes, pull enchanteds for our collection, and then sell off the singles before there's a huge demand influx, where that imbalance of supply and demand hit, where we have a ton of supply, demand is decreasing a little bit because the cards have been out longer, and so that 10 days is just a key stretch if you're like myself. And so just a heads up for anyone who's new to Lorcana, new to TCG Player, the set will be out 10 days before Azurite Sea gets shipped. Switching gears to the first chapter, guys. I've been talking a lot about the first chapter case recently. I've been thinking more and more about the Amazon sale that happened and the people who got like 20 boxes. I really, really think that those are going to come as individual boxes. And therefore, I just think that the premium that a case is going to hold into the future is very, very significant. There's obviously some like security issues in terms of chapter 1 not being shrink wrapped or any sort of like sometimes they didn't even have tape on them in the first run instances. The second run did, and so it's not. I don't have overwhelming security concerns as it relates to the first chapter, but I just feel like a sealed case that's tamper proof and is intact. Like I feel like that's just going to have a significant premium over just an individual box. Like if you bought 4 individual boxes or went to buy a case, I just feel like the case premium is going to be very significant in the future. And so with that being said, I want to share my thoughts on that and make sure you guys are aware and have the ability to get one if you like. Now look, I don't know if the first chapter is going to be reprinted again. I have no clue. I would bet that it's not. And so everything that I say here in regards to this $1,000 price point could be null and void if a reprint does happen. I have no insider information as it relates to that. But if you look at the first chapter booster box case, we're starting to see a lot of volume here. And I am a little bit, my red flag, my spidey senses are tingling. I just glitched there. I apologize. Not enough coffee this morning. My spidey senses are tingling when I see some of these listings, like $847.99 or even $887. There are quite a few boxes sold here over the last couple of days, or cases sold here over the last couple of days. When you look at it, the cheapest on the market is one $1,149.97 from MN Baseball, lowest verified seller. You're looking at, $1,150. There is a box cheaper than that, about $50 cheaper at, $1,100 all in. But if you look at the seller, Crystal Emporium, you see that there is a negative feedback here very recently that says cases had a receipt inside, meaning these cases were tampered with. A sealed case would not have the receipt inside the case. Asked for a return label, said okay, the label hasn't gotten here for over 2 weeks. So I just want to put you guys on that, like, sometimes when these sellers, specifically most likely non-verified sellers, are willing to undercut the market, because if you think about it, this person's just undercutting by $50. They're willing to sell two, and we've just seen so much of these where these people are just trying to get a sell on TCG Player and then get that payout and hopefully get away with it. I'm worried that these A4799s and things like that were some similar actions and just kind of some sketchiness overall. If you were one of the ones who bought one of the 847.99 boxes or even the 887 boxes, please let me know if that's legit. You get it. Obviously, you won't have it by now. These were all bought, last Friday, for example, and then up till yesterday. But just let me know if these were real, because I feel like those were probably fake. And in reality, the price for a box, like the market price, probably is close to $1,100, give or take. But I just want to, I want to put you guys aware of that these non-verified sellers, sometimes you're going to run into issues there. And then, but shop from like verified sellers that have good ratings, good history. They're verified through TCG Player, and then just make sure you give the product a good once over once you get it. But I'm just of the mindset that the first chapter sealed case is going to just have a significant premium over the 4 individual boxes of the first chapter as we get a year to 5 years down the road. I think that's going to hold more and more truth to it as we progress. But the price is definitely starting to increase quite a bit. There's a lot of volume, and that goes for the individual booster boxes as well. 255. Oh, that's the starter pack boxes. 270 is the lowest first chapter individual box right now. Even on the 14th today, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 boxes sold at 250 plus. They're selling around 270 consistently here. You can see even yesterday we have an additional 20 boxes that were sold, give or take. First page is up to 310 now, and there is not a lot of product on the shelves until we get to that point. We're looking at sub 20 boxes on the first page, all in right around there, 20 to 30 boxes. And so the time is now. The highest we've ever seen this box get to is about 310. And so once again, as a reminder, there was an Amazon sale about a month ago of boxes that were listed. We had several people in the community get 20 boxes or more. Those boxes are going to be delivered this week and next. So I do expect to see the price come down in the short term for the individual booster boxes. I would probably hold off. Who knows? Maybe we don't see any sort of price downturn because of those boxes. But just as a reminder, those people got those boxes at MSRP. So $143.99 was their total cost. They got free shipping. They had to pay taxes on that. So maybe like $150 is their cost basis. But then there's the Amazon cash back and things like that and reward. So we'll say on average, cost basis probably $145 per box. They can list it tomorrow and double their money at the current prices, essentially. And so I do think that we're going to see some price decreases just due to people got a really, really good deal. And we haven't seen any of those Amazon listings since. And it's, we're probably at, roughly 4 to 6 weeks since we've seen a first chapter listing on Amazon. And so, we might be at the point where it's drying up. I'm hesitant to say that because every time we've said it in the past, we've seen a supply increase. But right now, there is definitely a lot more demand than there is supply. And that's why we're seeing prices go from, $220 per box up to 270 right now in a relatively quick, time span. So just a heads up, overall, I remain incredibly bullish on the first chapter. I mean, it's got as much prominence as you want a sealed product. It's got insane demand. It's incredibly iconic. It's got the chase of all the set cards in it. Like, it's the first chapter. It's, base set for Lorcana. I firmly believe that. And I just think that it's going to be a great sealed place to be moving forward, and quantities are just not that high. We're looking at 17 listings in total for the first chapter. We're looking at 20 for a sealed case. We're looking at 24 for a box. That's going up exponentially. And then you look at, things like Rise of the Floodborn, we're still at 5 listings in total, 700 lowest price per case on the market. You look at the individual booster box, and we're looking at 14 listings on the market. Lowest price per box is 160. So just the supply and the demand for these first couple sets are getting up there, and I think we're going to start to see some of the singles follow. Once the sealed becomes out of reach for a lot of people, they're going to start just to go and buy the singles that they need, and that's going to cause those supply shortages to dry up, and then that's going to be a little bit of a lag. But overall, just a really, really exciting time for those of us who've been here for a while, who have sealed allocations of this stuff, and have a lot of just inventory, right? A lot of cards, a lot of sealed stuff. For those of us who have put the money in and put the time in, fairly short amount of time, to be fair, when you're talking about holding something as more of an investment on like the sealed front, a few months, and it's seeing pretty disproportionate gains. For those of you who are newer, I got my first sealed case of the first chapter was secured at $600. That's what I got a sealed case for. That was kind of at the low of Lorcana after a lot of the scalping had happened. The first reprint came. A lot of people got burned because they overpaid, and so they were kind of out. Think like January timeframe, December, January. I was able to get a sealed case for $600. And now you fast forward 10 months later, and we're staring at a $1,200 case, give or take. Just for those of you who weren't around back in that time, it's been a pretty crazy ride. Moving into some individual cards, guys. The lowest price for a near mint Cinderella is $200, or that's light played, $290, and near mint is $300. This was a card that saw highs of up to $500 for a raw copy, lows of up to two. We saw some going below even $200. It's maintained around $250 pretty consistently, but we are starting to see this card spike a little bit. This is a unique card that has a lot of playability. It also has a lot of collectability. It's a very hard card to grade. It's the first ever Enchanted Cinderella, and the card itself is just, this is a gorgeous piece of art. It looks amazing in person. I think this is a great place to start for any collector. If you have any sort of connection to the IP in terms of Cinderella, the collectability I think is going to be very, very strong for this card, and one that I recommend you pick up. Even if it's just raw, or to get it graded. Once again, it grades very, very harshly. There's, I think, around 600 in total population existence and a gem mint grade, and so I think this card is just a great place to start, but one that's seen an uptick here as of recently, gone up quite a bit. And I think I think Cinderella is a playable card, but it's also very collectible, right? It's one of probably the biggest princess IP within Lorcana. So you've got both factors working towards it, and that's why you see only 14 listings available, and it carries a high premium. Now you look at a card like Diablo, there's only 8 listings of Diablo, and Enchanted from set 4. Very, very relevant card, very meta, very playable, one of the most playable Emerald cards in terms of, like, you think about like OP and things like that, meta defining. This is top of the charts. There's only 8 listings available, but it only has you can get one for $200 in a near mint copy, $205 all in. The reason, from a collector standpoint, that I want to make you guys aware of this is that whenever this card falls out of the meta, whenever that may be, maybe it's 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, whenever that time happens, this card is going to tank. And so from a collector's perspective, I would just recommend, if you can wait and hold off, maybe you have a goal to complete all of Ursula's Return. Cards like this, I think, make so much sense to wait on, because you might be able to get this Enchanted for $100 a year from now. Or maybe it's $75, maybe it's $150. I don't know, but I just don't think it's going to be at $200 for a sustainable amount of time, and I expect it to drop as soon as it comes out of the meta. And so if you have any sort of goals around Ursula's Return or the Enchanted Diablo, I would say wait. If you want to put it in your deck and you got $200 to spend, then look, I'm not judge and jury of when to buy cards. I just want to look out for my collectors out there. If you have any sort of goals around this card, I think it just makes sense to wait, because we're seeing it at a premium, and it's a card that in reality probably won't have that much significance once it's out of the meta. So just a heads up on that card. We are starting to see the D23 Playful Sorcerer Mickey start to come down a little bit. You can now get a near mint copy for $170. If you remember, these were going for around near mint for $200 for quite a while. You can even see on the first page here we're at $200 for a near mint copy. You can now get it for 170. This is a card I've held off on. I think 170 is probably a fair price for it, to be fair. You can get 170, 174, 175. There's quite a few available. Your first verified seller is at 188, pretty much 190 all in when you look at shipping. So, you know, might make sense to go for the verified there, but we are starting to see it decline a little bit. Not enough volume to really mean anything. You can see Lorcana here does have 4 available at 173. So just a heads up that this card is starting to dip a little bit. If you've been waiting on it like I have, I still have not purchased one. I'm still holding off, more out of greed than anything else. But I want to see what the lows are, and then I'll make my plays accordingly. And then last but not least, guys, I did want to put you guys onto an Amazon sale here. You can get a Rise of the Floodborn Amethyst and Seal starter deck for $7.99, $8 essentially. You can get up to 3 on Amazon. And then this is the starter deck, I believe, that includes the Madam M Fox as well as the Madam M Rabbit. I think the Fox is even cold foil, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Never mind. Scratch that. I can't remember if it is or not. But essentially, the cost of the Fox and the Rabbit alone are going to essentially pay for the deck. You then get a pack with it and all of the other cards that come within the deck. And so pretty plus EV. You get the pack. Maybe you can pull an Enchanted. I saw someone on Reddit ordered 3 of them, and they pulled an Enchanted Alice Growing Girl out of their packs. So you definitely can get an Enchanted out of the starter decks. Obviously not guaranteed. Very low pull rate. But at the end of the day, you can get 3 of them at $8 a piece, $24. You can get a prime, delivered, etc. And just want to put you guys onto that. I have been monitoring very closely our foil Rapunzel prize cards as well as our Cinderella foil prize cards. You're looking at about 3,000 for a Rapunzel right now. Top 32 prize card from the challenge events. You're looking at around 1,000 to 1,500 for the Cinderella Stout Hearted. I've remained on the sideline. I'm going to continue to remain on the sideline here. But we're seeing a lot of sales around this price point. Whenever they're available or whenever they go to auction. Like, for example, we've got some at auction right now. We've got a top foil price card that's got 6 days left. It's at $720. And then we've got a couple others that are a little bit higher than that. They have quite a bit of time left. But we are officially on prize card watch. Probably going to be talking about those a little bit more than I have been in the past, just because I think now is the time to really start monitoring them. We have DLC Seattle, our last DLC event. And then we're going to start to get into some sort of announcements around are these going to continue to be used moving forward? Are they not? Are they done? Are we at our total supply that's ever going to be in existence? Like, those are kind of the things that we're waiting on to kind of make our play. So 3,000 for a near mint is about as cheap as you're going to get on TCG Player or eBay. Let's hop over to TCG Player here real quick and check on it. I think I checked this weekend, and about 3,000 was the lowest for a prize foil Rapunzel. Yep, 3,000 still. So $3,000 card is the floor right now for the foil Rapunzel. Once again, we're watching this like a hawk as we get into the end of the year. We've been talking about this for months, that these were going to be the times that we're going to be looking at these, and we are here. So I think that is it for today's video, guys. We flew through that. We talked about a lot. I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on the case versus individual box debate. Let's say, a year from now, an individual box, just for easy math, is $400. Do you guys think that the Amazon, do you guys think that the first chapter case is going to be $1,600, just a 4x multiplier of that? Do you think it's going to be, $2,000? Maybe it's like a 2 and 2.25x, right? 2.25 times. I think it's probably going to be closer to like 3 to 4 times, in my personal opinion. As the cases continue to get broke, and there's just less and less of them. I think that they were just, assuming no reprint, right? A reprint negates this entire conversation. But assuming no reprint, I think it's probably going to be closer to like 3 to 4x the price of a box if we get to a point where a sealed first chapter Disney Lorcana box 5 years from now, an individual box is $1,000. I think you're looking at closer to like 8 to 10,000 for a case. Now, obviously, that time may never come. I'm just using hypotheticals for easy math. But I just think that there's going to be a significant premium for the sealed cases as we get further and further into the future. And I would love to know your guys' thoughts. So, apart from that, guys, that is going to be a wrap for me today. Apologize, I have not had enough coffee. I'm misspeaking constantly here. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. We'll be back with another video soon. Bye.